Jennifer Janacek here, Director of Content Strategy with Sound Wisdom, and I'm excited to be here today with Shep Hyken, a New York Times best-selling author and customer experience expert, and author of the new book, I'll Be Back, How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again, which we are so excited about. It's a fabulous new book that's going to help you disrupt the competition and get loyal customers, which is the goal, should be the goal of every organization. So welcome, Shep. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, great to be here. And thank you and Sound Wisdom for publishing this wonderful book.
Yes, it's fabulous and so much fun. And the questions that I have today are going to revolve around the theme of termination. So of course, the book with the title has this fun spin on, the Terminators, I'll be back, getting customers to say, I'll be back, all the different forms that termination can take. And so while you mainly talk about terminating the competition in a playful way, of course, succeeding in your organization and building those loyal customers, winning customers, you also talk about the possibility of a customer terminating you, the organization. So I was wondering if you could share with us a few of the top reasons why a customer might terminate you and what you do to avoid that happening.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. And these are the types of things that when I share them with you, you're going to go, oh yeah, I can't stand when any company does that type of thing. And by the way, we're talking all kinds of companies, all types of industries, business to consumer, business to business, it doesn't matter. Right. I am so glad that I did grab my copy of the book. And I also am glad that my glasses are very close because I don't want to give you any bad information. But really interesting also, when I'm about to share this information, I just, in about a month or so, maybe 2 months ago, received the most recent data from my annual survey about what customers love about companies and don't love, and the reasons customers would not come back. And they matched up even before, I started writing this book like over a year ago, and it took time, but I love that they match up and they're congruent. They were the same last year, very similar last year. So number one, are you ready for this?
Yep.
Apathy. Think about it. So I will tell you that in the 1980s, there was a study done by the Technical Assistant Research Program, commissioned by the White House Office of Consumer Affairs, that asked what reasons customers would stop doing business. And they said up to 70% of customers stop because of apathy, somebody not caring. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you get around there, why would you want to go back to doing business with somebody who didn't seem to care about your business when there might be many competitors around? Mm-hmm. Number two, ties to, it's pretty close to apathy. Might as well be rude to me. If you're not going to care, rudeness. So who wants to do business with somebody that doesn't seem to not only care, but may not have the best attitude, may be short with you, may be rude with you, may make you feel like you're an inconvenience. So that's number two. And by the way, I have 10, although there are many more than 10. We could probably write a whole book on reasons customers would terminate you, but I like to stay more with the positive than the negative. Here's a really good one. Customers put up with this for just a short period of time, maybe the first time they'll do business with you. When they realize they can't reach you easily, they move on. And here it is, not being able to get contact information easily. Mm-hmm. It's not easily accessible. Let me give you a great example. I've been to a website where I need customer support, and I just look and hunt and click on all the links, and I go down to the bottom to look at the sitemap, hoping I could find an actual email or a phone number for customer support. Then you go over to a company like Zappos.com, which is an e-commerce company, yet somehow has the phone number on every single page, because they know if you're buying shoes and you aren't sure, should I buy, are they true to size? Do I need to buy it smaller or bigger? You're going to pick up the phone and call them. That's the fastest, quickest way in. Mm-hmm. So those are three. And of course, couldn't connect on a channel that you preferred to use. More and more, while the phone is the number one channel customers prefer to reach out on, if I've got a quick question or something simple, why can't I just go to the website and look at a tutorial or a frequently asked question knowledge base? And why not just get it that quickly? Why do I have to make the call? True story. I'm not going to tell you the name of the company. It was a cable TV company. I remember my buddy and I decided, hey, let's watch the hockey game. Now we're at his place, and I don't know, his cable company is not the one that I use. He didn't know what channel the game was on. So I said, just pick up the phone and call them. They'll tell you what channel the game is on. And of course, we couldn't get through on the phone. So then we tried to email them. Meanwhile, or get on their chat, and it just seemed like nobody was responding to the chat. Then we went back to the phone, and we know what? Somebody finally answered the phone. Took a little while. Now the game's just getting ready to start. And this is what my friend says. Can you just tell me what channel the hockey game is on in St. Louis, Missouri, where we live? And do you know what they said? Can I get your account number? What does that have to do with anything? You don't need to authenticate a generic question that has nothing to do with the person. But that's what they wanted to do. Now, maybe it's their process. But hey, I'm going off on a wrong direction here.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And
slow response time. They had a problem, and you didn't feel they made the effort to get back to you quickly. You might make them wait too long. As a customer or as a company, you should never make your customers wait what they would deem to be an unreasonable period of time, because it only frustrates them. If a customer has a problem, oftentimes they're not calling you the moment the problem takes place. But if they were to email you and it took you 3 days to get back a response to them, you think they're going to be happy about that? Probably not. And we can go on and on with these terminators, but there's an example of a few of them.
Yeah, that's great. And I totally agree. If I had to look at a site map and actually click through and figure out where customer service information is within that site map, that would be a deal breaker for me. And I also,
you just shared a story before we started the interview, and you said we don't need to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but you had a problem. You received something. You wanted to return it.
Yes.
And they said in their website, we do not have a phone number because of COVID.
I know. And Zappos, whom I've spoken with customer service representatives numerous times during the pandemic, have, phone numbers, people working remotely. And I love what they did. They did something very humanizing. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but they put this message before you connect with the representative that we're working remotely right now for safety reasons. You might hear a dog or a child in the background. If you prefer to not have that noise in the background, reach out to us in a different format. But it was just so humanizing, because it's like, yes, we're offering you connection. Yeah, but we care about our employees. Yeah.
That's real. And you know what? Who's going to argue with that? We're here to help you and recognizing the situation. But what you said to me after that was, email us. But please understand, you may not get a response for 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
Really? If I wanted to get my response in 24 hours, I would have waited 24 hours to make the complaint. And then what you got from them was wrong, so you had to email them back, and you had to wait another 24 to 48 hours. And eventually you're worried that you're not going to fall within their 20-day return policy, because they keep making you wait 1 to 2 days. So these are the types of things that frustrate you. Now, I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask, are you ever going to do business with them again?
No, never. No. Ever.
And you did something else because of your displeasure. And that was, you went to the Better Business Bureau. You filed a complaint with the Triple B, right? And while you were there, what did you notice?
That there were numerous other complaints about customer service not being responsive, and also issues with returns. Right.
So to put it in the words of the famous one who made the line, "I'll be back," and that's Arnie, you're terminated.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And it's such a shame too, because it could have been a great relationship. So one of the things,
or another way of saying it, hasta la vista, baby.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Except I'm not as laid back and cool as Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm more fired up and irked by the experience.
Hold on. I'm going to say this. I've got to do it the right way. I'll be back. You're terminated. No.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But one of the things you mentioned that I want to circle back to with sort of the first 2 points about treating customers like inconveniences, either apathy or just straight out rudeness. And, it's something that I think, we all struggle with to some extent, feeling the pressures of time and other things where you have all these other responsibilities. And yes, customer service should be first and foremost, but how can we sort of retrain ourselves to, take a breath and not be so stressed out when we're handling these issues? Is it a company culture issue? Is it a leadership issue? Is it because there are too many demands on employees, or what can we do just to have more space to be nice, if that makes sense?
Right. Which, by the way, being nice is one of the foundational pieces of customer service and experience when you're dealing with people. You want, and nice is a big word. And I've written now the 8th book on how to be nice. There's a lot around it. And I talk about that is the speech. But to your point, is it cultural? That's a good part of it. But and so which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first, the culture or hiring the employee? And I think as a leader who's deciding today, I need to either up my game. And by the way, you may be doing very, very well and creating a great experience. And almost 90% of the clients that we deal with, that I'm hired either to speak at their events, do trainings, consult, 90% are basically playing at a pretty high game. They're either wanting to sustain that edge or they're trying to just figure out a way to take it to an even higher level. And I admire those companies. Only about maybe 10 to 12% of my clients are saying, please help me. We've messed up. We don't know what to do. We're losing market share. We're losing business. What can we do to turn it around? So my guess is in those situations, especially, they haven't hired right to begin with, or they haven't created the culture to focus on. So if you've already got employees, let's not get rid of these good people. Let's figure out a way to make it work. But before we do that, you've got to create the right culture. And we talk about how you create that I'll be back culture. There's many different ways that I go into in the book and many different pieces to that puzzle, but it's not that difficult. It's simple in concept, but it gets a little bit more difficult depending on how large your company is. Because if you've got 50,000 employees, it's going to be a much bigger ship to try to turn to make it right. Where a smaller company of, say, 5 employees or even 500 employees, you can turn that one almost on a dime. Within months, you'll start to notice things when you start to implement the culture properly. But you have to have people supporting that. So I always tell my clients, the next time you go to hire somebody, make sure you're hiring right. And if you're not going to be hiring somebody and you already have people that are on the bus, get them on the right bus, get them pointed in the right direction. And here's how you do this: training and reinforcement. And when it comes to the soft skill of customer service, that's really what it is. It is something that needs to be reinforced over and over again. You can't onboard somebody, give them one half day or full day or even multiple days of training and never come back to the topic again. The best companies, they bring it up in almost every meeting they have, every morning huddle. I have clients that are in the banking industry where every morning they look at their NPS scores, their net promoter scores and customer satisfaction scores from the day before, and they read the verbatims, the actual words that customers are using to describe the experience. They do this every single day. Now, many of these verbatims are very positive. So what a great way to start your day and remind people how important it is to deliver at this level. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but yes, culture is very important, hiring right, and training these people, and then reinforcing it with small reminders. They don't have to be daily, but weekly or so. So there's a cadence of continuous, reminders that this is what we have to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So switching subjects a little bit, is there ever an instance where an organization should terminate a customer?
Oh, yeah. And in the chapter on You're Terminated, there's at the end, it says, so why would you want to terminate a customer? And the answer to that, and I'll just give you the basic ideas, is number one, that customer is bad for your culture. They're a bad customer. And I'll just go with one and let you read the others on your own. But this is something that you have to do, number one, to show your people that you'll support your own people, that they are more important than that sale from that customer that has been rude, may have used abusive language, may have said some very terrible things to a person. It's amazing what we hear when we listen to audio of different support center calls that are coming in. But it doesn't have to even be a support center. It could be a customer coming in, onto a retail floor. It could be a salesperson interacting with their customer. And if the customer says or acts inappropriately, says something that's completely off base, you have to make a decision. And I think a manager that says, you're more important to me than that sale, and then you have to let that customer go. And the way you let them go is crucial. I believe even that worst customer deserves to be handled with a little bit of dignity and respect. So, just nicely suggest, this isn't working out here. We're going to give you back your money, or I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think we're going to be able to make you happy. Might I make some suggestions on where you might go? Send them to the competition. No, but truthfully, you can tell them where to go. But always do it in a way that leaves the door even slightly open, just so you have the chance that if they do change their ways, and if they say why, you can, and let's just say it's an abusive customer from the standpoint of maybe they used terrible language toward an employee. Maybe they even made some, derogatory racial remarks. Say, this is not the way we treat our people here. And hey, if you have a change of heart down the road and you want to do business with us again, we're fine. But the way you acted today was unacceptable. I'm sorry, we can't work together.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And, obviously you want to stress to your employees that you really value them and, want to protect that relationship first and foremost, so that they're able to do their job and serve customers with the same attitude. All right. So last question, and this is to speak broadly to, the overall lesson of the book. How can we disrupt the competition and create that I'll be back culture, get customers to say, I'll be back time and time again?
Well, so first of all, buy the book. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Get your copy. There's a whole process outline, but maybe you could summarize.
Okay. So you're talking specifically about chapter 15?
Yeah. So the last whole process,
my favorite chapter in the book. Actually, there's a few other favorites as well, but this one I love. I call it where the rubber meets the road. And this is a process that gets you to understand the opportunities that are available to you that differentiate you from your competitor. So I'm going to take you through it really quickly. Number one, ask yourself, why should someone do business with me? And I don't want you to say because our people are really great, because that's what your competition is going to say. What really truly differentiates you, if you can prove it, like if you've won some great, customer experience award, maybe you've won a Stevie award and the competition hasn't. Yeah, you can say that. But overall, you're looking for true differentiators. Number two, what is your competition doing? And why would the customer want to buy from them instead of you? And there's probably something they're doing a little different. It may not be something you would ever want to implement, but if you decide, you know what, I want to implement this, make it yours, make it a little bit different. Number three, and that is part of number three, is keeping pace, deciding what it is that makes you different, and then move into, doing what you have to do to modify, to change, or whatever. Number four is to look outside your industry, get a team together and ask, who are the companies you love doing business with outside of our industry? And it can be any company. You'll hear when we do this in a live exercise, you'll hear Amazon, you'll hear the restaurant down the street, you'll hear a shoe repair center, from around the corner, all kinds of different size companies. You might hear, if you're in the manufacturing business, oh, I love doing business with this company. They have an inside sales rep that's just amazing. And okay, so now we know you love these companies. Why do you love them? And when the inside sales rep, it's not, okay, what makes her amazing or him amazing? Why, what specifically do they do? With Amazon, and this is a really good example, Amazon almost always comes up in these conversations. And a gentleman said, the reason I love Amazon is when I buy something, I immediately get an email. When they ship it to me, they tell me it's shipped with tracking information. And when it arrives, they show me a picture, they send it to me, I know it's there. And what's interesting is the response from the leader was, well, Amazon is an e-commerce retailer. We're not even close to that. That's nothing like what we do. Well, read between the lines, if to use that analogy. It isn't that this person loves receiving emails on product that he bought online. He loves receiving updated information about what he bought. That's a totally different animal. It's I want you to think about what this really means. It's the communication. And they all in unison started nodding their heads. Oh, that's what it is. So the other day I was talking to a client, actually about a month or so ago, a healthcare company that had ordered a $500,000 piece of equipment.
Wow.
And from, a manufacturer of medical equipment. And we were talking and I said, you sound like it's been a frustrating experience. He says, yeah. You think they could send me an email to tell me when I'm going to receive this, when it's going to ship? They've been really bad on the communication. And then he says, even Amazon sends me an email to tell me my toilet paper is
right. I know, $2 too fresh.
Really? So does that make sense? I mean, it makes total sense. Anyway, so that is the point. That's a really big, important step, because the next step is, after you've listed all the reasons you love doing business with these companies, start to choose the ones that you could use that you're not using and start to implement them, or at least discuss the process of doing so. And when all that's finished, you go to step 6, to the final question, which is the same as the first one, minor modification. Now that we've made these changes, why would someone choose to do business with us instead of them?
Yeah, that's a great process. And one of the things that I really love about it is it forces you to get out of the box of only looking at your competition and trying to figure out how you can differentiate yourself from them, because only one of the steps really exclusively deals with the competition.
Right, right. Because if all you do is exactly what the competition does, you're a commodity.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much, Shep, for sharing these fabulous tools and techniques for creating an I'll be back culture and getting customers to keep coming back again and again. Make sure that you pick up your book, I'll Be Back, How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again. It is just the best resource for building customer loyalty. And thank you so much for your time today, Shep.
Well, thank you. And as I jokingly said earlier in our conversation, since it's the end, hasta la vista, baby. I think that's what he said. That's exactly what he said.